All right, students. Now, in this particular question, I want to create a video tutorial because I want you guys to do well. Although I do have a visual step-by-step tutorial right here at my website in which you can go to step by step, but creating this video will make you perhaps more clear what you need to achieve. And in this particular question, the end result that you need to do is something like this, a tabular report, like a table, but it's a report of a certain criteria and requirements that you met when you create a query in Microsoft Access. And these will be some of the field names that you need to include and the titles that you need to place at the same time. So this question starts by giving you a few pointers, and then you have to produce a tabular report that you saw just now. Now, these are some of the requirements: game title with text sport, the release year with some kind of future from 2011 or later. And in the report, you need to include only these fields: rank, game underscore title, release year, genre, global sales, so on and so forth, and some of these other requirements that we're going to go through step by step. Now, right here in my Microsoft Access, I'm just going to go onto the screen right in this moment. And this here is where we all completed the very basic stuff. We add in some of our records. We have done what we can into the work. So what we're going to do right now, in order to create the tabular report, we need to create a query first. We go all the way to the top. Let's, for example, create. And then when we create a query, we can go ahead and select either of these two. But for me, I prefer to use the query design because it's way faster. So I'm just going to go ahead to the query design right now. And I'm going to pull on the screen later on. So I adjusted my screen, and the question should be somewhat at the bottom right. You'll be able to see that we need to include some certain fields. Making it as big again, we need to include some fields, which is we need to start on a second point first, because this second point gives us a few rank, some fields that we need to follow, which is rank, game title, release year, genre, global sales, and console name. And we can do so inside of Microsoft Access by helping ourselves just to place this little table all together so that we can put this table and easily pull down the fields that we want to. So with these two tables already done, we can then select the fields that we want to. So the first one was rank, and we double click that onto, and our first one will be rank. And then the game underscore title will be the second one based on this criteria. I'm going to pull that little questions right there so you can see the order easily. And the third one was the release underscore year. We double click that. And then we can also do the genre too. We double click genre. And then the third one, or the fourth, is the global skill. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth. Sorry, that was the fifth one. And the sixth one was console names on the other table called platform. So I double click that, and we do have the field names properly placed as per the requirement. Now, once we're done this already, we can go ahead and then do this particular question called game underscore title to include the criteria called text sport. Now, when we do so, we can simply just go ahead and do the criteria right there over at game title, and we're going to put in the future that has anything that contains sports. So we need to include those two asterisks or the star symbol. So this allow access to search anything or any word or any kind of sport sports words inside, and so that we have that kind of future in our report. So once I've finished typing and press enter, you can see that the criteria has been placed that way. If you want to confirm that this is correctly placed, we can just go ahead and select right click this table and then select save. Now, once we do so, we can just place the title table as sports titles release since 2011. This is exactly as required with the question, because right here they ask us to put this title here in the middle. All right, so with that, we can go ahead and select OK, and then that title is properly saved for us, and we have that. And now we can check whether or not our criteria for sports, for the sport word has been applied. Yes, because most of the game title only contains sport. Okay, so we're going to go back right now to the design view so that we can apply the filter for release underscore year, which by memory I remember is more than or equals to 2011, because this question here asks us to apply that filter. With that being done, so right here in Microsoft Access, you can see it applied that little filter more than and equals to. If I want to take a look whether that's correct, in the data sheet view, we can see that only information that is from 2011 and above is included in the query search. And with that, we have already done with the query. And our query now we can go ahead and create a Tableau report. And to do the Tableau report, we can go ahead and just go on to create. And then right here, we can simply select report wizard because this will help us easily. And since we already selected the fields that we want to as per the question's requirement, we can just pull everything to the right hand side. And with that being done so, you can just go on ahead and select next, and the order should be correct. And just go ahead and just select next as well, because we're not going to group anything right here in this wizard. And please try not to do so, even though we tend to look at this question to sort data into ascending order. Just don't fill any information right here, because if you do, your information will then be placed and your order of your field names will be messed up later on. So just don't put anything right here. Just go ahead and leave that blank. Select next. And this one, make sure it's tabular, portrait, and adjust the field so that it fits on the page, because this actually helps you to complete this criteria, which is portrait, and then this is single page. Now you will be required to put on what is the, when you click next, you will be required to put on what's the title of your report. Just go on ahead and just type out sports titles release since 2011. With that, just go ahead and select finish, and you'll be able to preview the Tableau report for yourselves, which is right here. Now, once you've done the Tableau report and in this print preview, you can see that some information has been overlapped. Like, for example, some information cannot be fully seen. The field names are being hidden. Now, that requires us to do things and adjust it manually later on. So to do so, we can simply just close the print preview. And I'm going to focus on this question first, because in this particular question, we do have the title already, but we want to make sure it is larger and fully visible at the top of the page. We can simply just do that by going into the, from the design wheel, we go into the layout wheel, and then we can select the title right at the top. And then you can just select the home, just go back home so that you can adjust the font, and then make it much more easier, bolden, and then emphasis a big title. For me, with font 26 and some of these colors should be fine and it's clear and visible. We don't really have to put in too beautiful, because the question doesn't require us to do so. With that, before we do the last criteria right here, has your name, center number, candidate number. I don't want to do that yet, because in this particular report, some information is not nice to see. So we had to adjust that manually. You should be able to use your mouse and select some of the field names. And then when you select some of the details or some information right here, then the field name is not selected. To ensure everything is selected properly, just hold the control key on your keyboard, select that, and then you adjust. Make sure that all of the information right here is not being overlapped. And then I like to start on the right, and then I go on to the next last second field, adjust it, and then make sure all information is also neat. And then I like to assign all these into the left side. Then I'm going on ahead and select these two information by holding my control key, and then I adjust the width of the column, ensuring that none of the information is overlapped. Just trying to adjust it again so that everything looks nice. And then right here in the release here, by holding control again so that these two things are selected. And then right here, I adjust the columns and align all of these into the left alignment. Now, even though the question does not ask you to adjust whether left, center, or right, you can just do anything to make sure that it looks nicer and neat. And before that, um, I'm also going to adjust the game title right here. This one, some of the information will still be overlapped, even though I try to put it to the most right already. But don't worry, we can actually do so one more right here by making sure the rank is over to the more left of the report, and then this game title can extend towards the left, and everything looks way nicer right here. Okay, so just at a glance, none information overlap, all information looks nice right now, right here in the query, the design layout. Now, one thing I've forgotten to tell everybody is that I have not done the sort the data into the ascending order of release underscore year. And we can simply do so very easily by going back to Microsoft Access. Now, to do this thing, we can simply go into the report design view, and then you can actually open up this grouping in total. Just now, my whole thing has been open anyway. So if it's not open, you can select the group and sort, in which you can add a sort and select release underscore here from smallest to largest, which is the ascending order. And once you add that in, you'll be able to see when you head back to the layout wheel that the release year finally are being arranged from 2011 all the way to 2020. That actually meets the requirement of this particular point. Okay, once you're done, we can do the final point, which is name, center, and candidate number. We can simply go back, and then I'm just going to go ahead to the design view, and I'm going to add a label over at the page footer or the report footer. So to do so, I can go onto report design and add label and put it somewhere here in the middle. And then I can just put in name, center number. I'm going to put center, and then candidate, then number. Okay. So once I'm done, I'm going to press enter, and then I can just place them nicely and adjust them nicely right here so that it looks a little bit okay. Now, and then I'm going to place this one in the center so that center align, and then adjust that label right here at the page footer. Now, to check whether our footer or our label is looking okay, just make sure you go back to the layout view one more time and then scroll all the way down. You'll be able to see that your name, center number, candidate number properly placed at the bottom of the page. All right, with that done, and you basically can go ahead and print. But before you do that, save the document first, because you will need to save, then only you'll be able to print. Once you do that, go back to the print preview, check everything is fine, and then you can go ahead and select print and put it into your school or exam printer and select OK once you're done.